I just found out my boss has been stealing my ideas for years, and now she's blackmailing me with fake evidence about something I never did. I'm trapped in a nightmare. I'm shaking as I type this. This morning I was on top of the world, and now I feel like I'm drowning. I don't know who to turn to, so I'm just putting this all out here. For context, I, 32F, have been working at the same marketing firm for 6 years. My boss, let's call her Diana, 45F, has always been the kind of manager who takes a special interest in her team. She's won multiple industry awards, gets featured in business magazines, and is seen as this innovative genius who transforms companies from the inside out. Everyone worships the ground she walks on. I used to as well. When I first started, Diana took me under her wing. Late-night strategy sessions, weekend brainstorming over coffee, asking for my input on major campaigns. I felt special, valued, like she saw something in me that others didn't. I worked my ass off for her approval, pulling 60-hour weeks regularly, missing family events, even canceling a vacation once because she needed me for a critical project. What I didn't realize was that I was being played the entire time. About 3 months ago, I was in a meeting with a client who casually mentioned how impressed they were with Diana's innovative approach on their campaign. The approach they described? It was my fucking idea. Something I had pitched to Diana in private, which she had initially seemed lukewarm about. But apparently, she loved it enough to present it as her own at the executive level. I felt sick, but I brushed it off as maybe a one-time thing. Maybe she'd given me credit somewhere, and the client just didn't remember. Then last month, I had to help Diana prepare for a keynote speech at a major industry conference. As I'm organizing her slides, I noticed 3 separate case studies that were based entirely on strategies I had developed. Not a single mention of my name anywhere. The whole presentation was about her visionary leadership and her unique methodology. I started digging. I went back through old presentations, client proposals, even that feature article about her in Marketing Weekly from last year. It was all there, my ideas, my campaigns, my strategies, sometimes word for word from documents I had sent her. For 6 years she's been doing this, building her reputation on my work, while keeping me busy and flattered enough not to notice. The worst part, I was still grateful to her. Still thought she was this amazing mentor who was helping my career. What a fucking joke. So last week, I finally got approached by a headhunter. A major competitor had noticed some of the campaigns our firm had done, my campaigns, and wanted to meet with me. They were offering a director position, my dream job, 60% higher salary, creative control, a team of my own. I was ecstatic. For once, someone had seen my value, not just Diana's. I decided to be professional about it. Yesterday afternoon, I scheduled a meeting with Diana to give her my 2 weeks' notice. I thought she'd be disappointed but supportive, maybe even proud that her protégé was moving up. I couldn't have been more wrong. The moment I told her, her entire demeanor changed. Her smile disappeared, and she just stared at me for what felt like an eternity. I don't think that's a good idea, she finally said. Her voice was ice cold. I explained that it was an amazing opportunity, that I was grateful for everything she'd taught me, but it was time for me to grow. She cut me off. Do you remember the Johnson account from 3 years ago? The Johnson account was a disaster, but not because of anything I did. Their CMO had changed direction midway through our campaign, demanding completely different deliverables with impossible deadlines. The whole team had scrambled, and in the end, the client was satisfied. Diana had even praised our work under pressure. Of course, I said, confused about why she was bringing it up. She opened her laptop, turned it toward me, and showed me an email from my company email address to the Johnson Company's biggest competitor, containing confidential information about the Johnson campaign. I never sent that email. This would be devastating if it got out, she said. Corporate espionage. Breach of contract. You'd never work in this industry again. My blood went cold. I never sent that. That's not real. She smiled. It wasn't her usual warm smile. It was something else entirely. It doesn't matter if it's real. What matters is that I have it. And emails from other incidents. I've been keeping a file. Just in case. Just In case, this woman had been creating fake evidence against me for years. As insurance. In case I ever became a problem. You're good, she continued, closing her laptop. But you're not ready to lead. You need more time under proper guidance. My guidance? That's when it hit me. She never saw me as a protege. I was never being groomed for success. I was being used. My creativity, my ideas, my dedication. All of it was just fuel for her career, her reputation. And now that I wanted to leave, she was showing me exactly how expendable I really was. I'm sure once you think about it, you'll realize this position isn't right for you, she said, standing up to indicate the meeting was over. Take the weekend to reflect. I'll see you Monday. I left her office in a daze. I've been sitting in my apartment ever since, alternating between crying and having panic attacks. I can't take the job offer now. She'll ruin me. But I can't keep working for her either, knowing what I know. It's destroying me inside. I've thought about going to HR. But Diana has been with the company for 15 years. She plays golf with the CEO. They're not going to believe me over her, especially when she has evidence of my misconduct. I've thought about hiring a lawyer, but what would I even say? My boss is blackmailing me with fake emails? It would be her word against mine. And she has the entire company believing she's a saint. I've thought about contacting the company that offered me the job and explaining the situation. But who would believe such an insane story? They'd think I was unstable or making excuses. I feel trapped. Completely and utterly trapped. Update 12 hours later. I wasn't expecting this post to blow up like it did. Thank you all for the support and advice. Reading through your comments has given me the courage to at least try to fight back. Many of you suggested gathering evidence, and you're right. After I calmed down a bit, I started thinking more clearly about what I could do to protect myself. First, I went through all my old emails and documents, finding original timestamps for my ideas that Diana later claimed as her own. I took screenshots, forwarded key emails to my personal account, and organized them by project. Then I remembered something crucial: my personal notebooks. I've always been someone who thinks better when writing by hand, so I have years of dated notebooks with my ideas, sketches, and concepts. Many of these have timestamps from before Diana's innovations were ever presented. But the most damning evidence came from an unexpected source. After reading some of your comments about checking sent mail logs, I realized that the fake corporate espionage email Diana showed me would have left traces in our company's email system, even if she somehow managed to create it to look like it came from me. So I contacted our IT guy, Mark. Mark has always been friendly to me, and more importantly, he hates Diana. She once called him overpaid tech support during a company meeting. I was honest with him. I told him I was being accused of sending inappropriate emails, but that I had never sent them. Without mentioning Diana specifically, I asked if there was any way to verify if emails had actually been sent from my account on the dates in question. Mark was instantly suspicious. Apparently, I'm not the first person Diana has tried to set up. He didn't give me details, but he hinted that she had pulled similar stunts with other employees who had tried to leave. He agreed to help me and pulled the email server logs from the timeframe Diana claimed I sent the Johnson competitor email. Nothing. Absolutely nothing from my account to that domain. Ever. But here's where it gets even better. Mark found that Diana's account had accessed my email multiple times over the past few years, using admin privileges she's not supposed to have. And he can prove it. Mark says this is a serious security breach that he's obligated to report. He's building a report now that shows Diana accessing my email without authorization. No record of the supposed incriminating emails ever being sent. Evidence that similar patterns existed with other former employees. I'm still terrified, but at least now I have some ammunition. I'm meeting with a lawyer tomorrow morning who specializes in workplace harassment and blackmail. The lawyer says I may have a strong case not just against Diana, but against the company for allowing this toxic environment to persist. I haven't decided yet if I'll confront Diana directly or go straight to the CEO with all this evidence. Part of me wants to see her face when she realizes her manipulation has failed. But the smarter move is probably to let the lawyer handle everything. As for the job offer, I contacted the headhunter and asked for a few more days to consider. I didn't go into details, just said I was dealing with some unexpected complications with my current position. They were understanding and extended the timeline. I still feel shaky and anxious. 6 years of my professional life have been a lie. The mentor I thought I had was actually a predator. But at least now I can see a way forward. I'll keep you all updated once I meet with the lawyer. Update 3 days later. Everything has escalated far beyond what I expected. I'm exhausted but wanted to update you all since so many of you have been checking in. I met with the lawyer, let's call her Rebecca, who was absolutely fantastic. After reviewing all my evidence, including Mark's IT report, she believed we had a strong case for workplace harassment, fraud, intellectual property theft, and blackmail. But she advised against confronting Diana directly, or even going to the CEO yet. We need to be strategic, she said. Once they know you're fighting back, they'll circle the wagons. Instead, Rebecca helped me document everything properly and prepare for what was likely to be a messy legal battle. She also suggested I continue going to work as normal while we built our case, which was honestly the hardest thing I've ever done. Walking back into that office, seeing Diana's fake smile, pretending everything was fine while my stomach was in knots. It was torture. She kept making these little comments in meetings like, "So glad you decided to stay with our family," with this knowing look that made me want to scream. On day 2 of this charade, something unexpected happened. Diana's assistant Emily caught me alone in the break room and whispered, "I know what she's doing to you. She did it to me too." Turns out Emily had originally been hired for a creative position, not as an assistant. But after she'd developed a major campaign concept, Diana had threatened to fire her over performance issues, unless she accepted a demotion to assistant. Diana then presented Emily's campaign as her own, and won an industry award for it. Emily had documentation too, original concept boards, emails, even a recording of Diana threatening her. She'd been too scared to come forward alone, but seeing what was happening to me gave her courage. By day 3, 2 more colleagues had approached me privately with similar stories. One had actual recordings of Diana taking credit for their work in client meetings, after explicitly telling them to stay quiet about their contributions. Rebecca was thrilled. What had started as my individual case was evolving into a pattern of behavior that would be much harder for the company to ignore or dismiss. Then yesterday, everything exploded. I was in a meeting with Diana and some clients when my phone started blowing up with notifications. Rebecca was trying to reach me urgently. As soon as the meeting ended, I called her back. "Check your email now," she said. "Mark just blew this wide open." Mark had done more digging and discovered that Diana hadn't just accessed my email. She had created a shadow IT system for accessing and manipulating company communications. He found a folder on her personal drive containing templates of my email signature, other employees' letterheads, and even software for mimicking writing styles. This wasn't just opportunistic idea theft. This was systematic, planned long-term fraud. Mark had reported his findings to the company's cybersecurity team, who had no choice but to escalate it to legal. By the time I checked my email, there was already a message from the company's general counsel requesting an urgent confidential meeting with me. I called Rebecca in a panic, and she agreed to accompany me to the meeting, which was scheduled for later that afternoon. The meeting was surreal. The general counsel, the head of HR, and the COO were all there looking grim. They had Mark's complete report, and they had already placed Diana on administrative leave pending investigation. They asked me detailed questions about everything: the stolen ideas, the blackmail attempt, the fake evidence. I answered honestly, providing all the documentation Rebecca and I had prepared. Then they dropped another bombshell. Diana had apparently been doing this for much longer than I realized, and to many more people than just those who had approached me. They revealed that 3 former employees had previously made complaints about Diana that had been dismissed due to lack of evidence. The company was now reopening those cases in light of Mark's findings. The meeting ended with a formal apology from the company and assurances that they would make this right. They asked me not to make any decisions about leaving until they had completed their investigation. I left the meeting in shock. Rebecca was cautiously optimistic, but warned me not to trust the company completely. They're in damage control mode, she said. They're more worried about a potential lawsuit than about you personally. When I got back to my desk, I had an email from Diana. It was short but chilling. I always recognized your potential. Remember that. I showed it to Rebecca, who immediately forwarded it to the general counsel as further evidence of attempted intimidation. The company IT department has now blocked Diana from accessing any company systems. As of tonight, this is where things stand. 1. Diana is on leave and under investigation by both the company and potentially law enforcement for fraud and blackmail. 2. The company has offered me a significant retention bonus and promised a full review of my contributions, with appropriate credit and compensation to follow. 3. 4 other current employees and 2 former ones have joined together to share their experiences with Diana, creating a much stronger case than any of us could have made individually. 4. The company that offered me the job is still interested, but now the COO of my current company has asked to meet with me about a potential promotion. 5. I'm emotionally drained, but finally feeling like I might see justice. I still have moments where I doubt myself. 6 years of gaslighting doesn't disappear overnight. Sometimes I catch myself thinking, what if I'm overreacting? What if this ruins her life unfairly? But then I remember the cold look in her eyes when she threatened me, the calculated way she had been building fake evidence against me for years, the other lives and careers she damaged. This woman is a predator who has been feeding off other people's talents and living in fear of being exposed. She created this situation, not me. I don't know yet what I'll do about the job offers. Part of me wants a completely fresh start away from this whole mess. But another part feels like running away would be letting her win somehow, even if she's gone. For now, I'm taking things one day at a time and leaning heavily on therapy, friends, and surprisingly, my new network of fellow Diana survivors. Thank you all again for your support and advice. I might not have found the courage to fight back without it. Final update 2 weeks later. It's been a whirlwind these past 2 weeks, but I think I'm finally ready to close this chapter of my life. The investigation into Diana moved quickly once the company realized the potential legal and PR disaster they were facing. They brought in an outside firm to conduct a thorough audit of all her work in communications. What they found was staggering. Over her 15-year career at the company, Diana had stolen ideas from at least 17 different employees. Some had left the company, some had been demoted or marginalized like Emily, and others had simply given up fighting and accepted that their work would never be recognized. The company called a special all-hands meeting last week to address the situation. The CEO actually stood up and apologized publicly, acknowledging that they had fostered a culture that allowed this kind of abusive behavior to thrive. They announced that Diana had been terminated for cause, and that they would be implementing new policies to ensure proper attribution of work and ideas. They also revealed that they're establishing a review process for anyone who believes their contributions were minimized or stolen, with potential financial compensation for those affected. It's not perfect, but it's more accountability than I expected. As for Diana herself, apparently she didn't go quietly. When security escorted her to clean out her office, she had a complete meltdown, screaming that we were all ungrateful, and that she had made our careers. She threatened lawsuits against everyone involved, including the company. But her position collapsed completely when the company's tech team recovered deleted emails, showing she had been planning to leave for a competitor all along, taking our best ideas with her. She had actually been in negotiations with them for months, which explains why she was so desperate to keep me from accepting their offer. She knew I could expose her as a fraud before she even started her new job. The legal consequences for Diana are still unfolding. The company is pursuing civil action against her for breach of contract and intellectual property theft. There's also talk of potential criminal charges related to the blackmail and electronic fraud, though my lawyer says those can be harder to prove. Several of us have been approached about providing testimony if these cases go to court, which is intimidating but necessary. Rebecca says the evidence is so overwhelming that Diana will likely try to settle rather than face a public trial. As for me personally, I've made my decision about my career path. The company offered me a substantial promotion to take over Diana's position, along with a significant raise and bonus to compensate for the years my ideas were misattributed. It was tempting, especially with the promise of a new culture and the vindication of inheriting her role. But in the end, I decided to accept the offer from the other company. Here's why. First, despite the CEO's apologies and promises, the fact remains that this happened under his watch for 15 years. Multiple complaints were dismissed. Red flags were ignored. I'm not confident the toxic culture will change overnight, just because one bad actor has been removed. Second, the new company actually impressed me with their response to this whole situation. When I finally explained what had been happening after Diana was fired, they were understanding and patient. They even adjusted their offer to match my current company's counteroffer, showing they truly valued me. But most importantly, I realized I need a fresh start. Too many people at my current company knew me as Diana's protege. Even with her gone, those associations would linger. At the new company, I can build my reputation based solely on my own merit from day one. I gave my notice yesterday. The CEO tried one last time to convince me to stay, but ultimately respected my decision. My last day is next Friday, and I start the new job the following Monday. Emily and 2 others are also leaving for new opportunities. We've formed a tight support group and have vowed to stay in touch. There's something powerful about connecting with people who have shared such a unique trauma. We understand each other in ways no one else can. Looking back, I still can't believe I endured 6 years of this psychological abuse without recognizing it. The way Diana isolated each of us made us feel specially chosen while simultaneously undermining our confidence. It was textbook manipulation. I've started therapy to process everything and am working through feelings of betrayal, anger, and even grief for the mentor relationship I thought I had. My therapist says these emotions are normal and that recovery will take time. But I'm already feeling stronger. Standing up to Diana, even though it was terrifying, showed me that I have more courage than I realized. And watching her carefully constructed facade crumble confirmed what I should have known all along. True success built on lies will eventually collapse. To anyone reading this who might be in a similar situation, document everything, find allies, and don't let fear silence you. Your ideas have value. Your work has value. You have value, regardless of what any manipulative boss tries to make you believe. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in years, I'm excited to find out. My ideas will have my name on them. My successes will be my own. And I'll never again let anyone make me doubt my worth. Thank you all for being part of this journey with me. Your support truly changed my life.